Boyd Blake Rice is an American experimental sound noise musician using the name of NON since the mid-1970s, archivist, actor, photographer, author, member of the Partridge Family Temple religious group, co-founder of the UNPOP art movement and current staff writer for Modern Drunkard magazine. Biography: Rice became widely known through his involvement in V. Vale's A Research books. He is profiled in A Research No. 6/7, Industrial Culture Handbook and Pranks. In Pranks, Rice described his experience in 1976 when he tried to give President Ford's wife, Betty Ford, a skinned sheep's head on a silver platter. In this interview, he emphasized the consensus nature of reality and the havoc that can be wreaked by refusing to play by the collective rules that dictate most people's perception of the external world. In the mid-1980s, Rice became close friends with Anton LaVey, founder and high priest of the Church of Satan, and was made a priest, then later a magister in the Council of Nine of the Church. The two admired much of the same music and shared a similar misanthropic outlook. Each had been inspired by Mighty's right in fashioning various works, LaVey in his seminal Satanic Bible and Rice in several recordings. Rice's social Darwinist outlook eventually led to him founding the social Darwinist think tank called the Abraxas Foundation, along with co-founder Nicholas Schreck, named after the ancient Gnostic god Abraxas. The organization promotes authoritarianism, totalitarianism, misanthropism, and elitism, is anti-democratic, and has some philosophical overlap with the Church of Satan. During an interview with Christian talk show host Bob Larson, Rice described the basic philosophy of the foundation as being the strong rule the weak, and the clever rule the strong. Rice has documented the writings of Charles Manson in his role as contributing editor of the Manson File. Rice was a feature guest on Talkback, a radio program hosted by the evangelical Christian Bob Larson. In total, Rice made 5 appearances on Larson's program. Although Rice was sometimes reported to possess the world's largest Barbie collection, he confessed in a 2003 interview with Brian M. Clark to owning only a few. In 2000, along with Tracy Twyman, editor of Dagobert's Revenge, Rice filmed a special on the Rennes Chateau for the program In Search of. On Fox Television. Rice has done extensive research into Gnosticism as well as Grail legends and Merovingian law, sharing this research in Dagobert's Revenge and the Vessel of God. Rice was involved in creating a tiki bar called Tiki Boyd's at the East Coast Bar in Denver, Colorado. Rice decorated the entire establishment out of his own pocket due to his fondness of tiki culture, asking an open tab at the bar in return. Boyd has long expressed a love of tiki culture, in contrast to the other elements of his public persona. Tiki Boyd's was given its name in his honor. Due to disagreements between Rice and the owners, Rice pulled out of the deal and reclaimed all of his tiki decorations. The future of the bar as it remains now is uncertain. Rice plans to re-establish another tiki bar elsewhere in Denver. Music: Rice creates music under his own name, as well as under the moniker of NON and with contributors under various other project names. Early sound experiments Rice started creating experimental noise recordings in 1975, drawing on his interest in tape machines and bubblegum pop sung by female vocalists such as Little Peggy March and Guinea Annell. One of his earliest efforts consisted entirely of a loop of every time Leslie Gore sang the word cry. After initially creating recordings simply for his own listening, he later started to give performances, and eventually make records. His musical project NON grew out of these early experiments. He reportedly selected the name because it implies everything and nothing. Techniques and implementations From his earliest recordings, Rice has experimented with both sound and the medium through which that sound is conveyed. His methods of expanding upon the listening possibilities for recorded music were simple. On his second 7-inch, he had 2 extra holes punched into the record for multi-axial rotation. Another early LP was titled Play at Any Speed. While working exclusively with vinyl, he employed locked grooves that allowed listeners to create their own music. He was one of the first artists, after John Cage, to treat turntables as instruments and developed various techniques for scratching. Rice has been treating sounds from vinyl recordings as early as 1975. NON under the name NON, originally with second member Robert Turman, Rice has recorded several seminal noise music albums, and collaborated with experimental music dark folk artists like Current 93, Death in June and Rose McDowell. Most of his music has been released on the Mute Records label. Rice has also collaborated with Frank Tovey of Fad Gadget, Tony Weckeford of Soul Invictus and Michael Moynihan of Blood Axis. His later albums have often been explicitly conceptual. On Might, Rice layers portions of Ragnar Redbeard's social Darwinist harangue, Might is right over sound beds of looped noise and manipulated frequencies. 1997's God and Beast explores the intersection in the soul of man's physical and spiritual natures over the course of an album that alternates abrasive soundscapes with passages of tranquility. In 2006, Rice returned to the studio to record raw vocal sound sources for a collaboration with industrial, modern primitive percussionist ethnomusicologist ZEV. In addition, he and longtime friend of 20 years Giddle Partridge planned an album titled Love Bang, under the band name of Giddle and Boyd. After the limited edition release of a bubblegum pink, heart-shaped vinyl EP titled, Going Steady with Peggy Mofite. In early 2010, Rice announced that he and Giddle Partridge would focus on solo projects albums for the time being. Crowd control. Early NON performances were designed to offer choice to audience members who might otherwise expect only a prefabricated and totally passive entertainment experience. Rice has stated that he considers his performances to be de-indoctrination rites. Rice has performed using a shoe polisher, the rotoguitar, and other homemade instruments. He has also used found sounds, played at a volume just below the threshold of pain, to entice his audiences to endure his high-decibel sound experiments. Rice coupled his oral assaults with psychological torture on audiences in Den Haag, the Netherlands, by shining in their faces exceedingly bright lights that were deliberately placed just out of reach. As their frustration mounted, Rice states that he continued to be friendly to the audience, which made them even madder, because they were so mad and I didn't care. They were shaking their fists at me, and I thought that at any minute there'd be a riot. So I took it as far as I thought I could, and then thanked them and left. After dropping out of high school at the age of 17, Rice began an in-depth study of early 20th century art movements, producing his own abstract black and white paintings and experimental photographs. Early on, he met European art historian and gallery owner, Arturo Schwartz, with whom he began a long correspondence. Schwartz, a biographer of Dutch Hamp and Man Ray, encouraged Rice to pursue his art, no matter what. And he did. Though he would later shift his focus to sound, he has never stopped creating visual art and has given a number of one-man shows over the years. Photography. In the mid-1970s, Rice devoted a great deal of time to experimental photography, developing a process by which he could produce photographs of things which don't exist. He had a one-man show of the photos in the early 1980s at Richard Peterson's Pink and Pearl Gallery in San Diego, which was documented in the local press, the San Diego Union and Evening Tribune. He has never revealed the means by which he made these photos, and has stated publicly that the secret will go to the grave with him. Some of these photos can be seen in his book Standing in Two Circles. Writings. Over the years, Boyd Rice's writings have been translated into at least 6 languages. His collected writings were published in 2008 by Creation Press. A French-language edition followed on Cayman Noir. In 2009, his book No was published. This was widely regarded as a book defining Rice's personal philosophy. Rice defined the book as merely a laundry list of things he didn't believe in. He later stated in an interview with WFMU's Beware of the Blog, "Sometimes the things you don't believe are more important than what you do believe." In October 2011, Heartworm Press published Rice's Twilight Man, a noir memoir about his life in 1980s San Francisco. Controversy. In 1989, Rice and Bob Heek of the American Fund were photographed for Sassy magazine wearing uniforms and brandishing knives. While Rice would later recall it as a prank, The photo has caused boycotts and protests at many of Rice's appearances. When asked if he regrets the photo, Rice stated, "I don't care. I don't think I ever made a wrong move. The bad stuff is just good. America loves its villains." This photograph was additionally published in the book Blood in the Face, The Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nations, Nazi Skinheads, and the Rise of a New White Culture by James Ridgway. More controversy has resulted because of Rice's appearance on Race and Reason, a public-access television cable TV show hosted by white nationalist Tom Metzger. Rice has claimed not to be a Nazi in numerous interviews, whilst his friend Rose McDowell has claimed he has never said anything racist nor endorsed Nazism to her. However, Stuart Home has claimed that Rice is a supporter of Nazism. Boyd Rice is associated with Church of Satan founder Anton LaVey and has collaborated with Adam Parfrey, who is Jewish. On August 8, 1988, Boyd Rice was among the organizers and performers at 888, a satanic Nazi rally organized at the Strand Theater in San Francisco, which was locally heavily advertised and sold out, billed as the largest gathering of Satanists ever recorded. Rice appeared with the band Radio Werewolf as well as Ziana Lovi of the Church of Satan, and with the Secret Chiefs and Chris Force. Discography. Films, Pranks. TV. Directed by V. Vale, A Research Publications, Tyranny of the Beat Mute Records, Speak of the Devil, About Anton LaVey, directed by Nick Boogers, Wavelength Video, Boyd Rice Documentary, Part 1 Joel Hertling, Boyd Rice Documentary, Part 2 Joel Hertling, Pearls Before Swine, directed by Richard Wollstonecraft, Nixing the Twist, directed by Frank Kelly Rich, High Crime Films, The Many Moods of Boyd Rice, Predatory Instinct Productions, Church of Satan Interview Archive, Purging Talon, Baptism by Fire DVD released by NERO2, Frank Tovey by Fad Gadget Mute Records, Iconoclast directed by Larry Vessel, Modern Drunkard, directed by Frank Kelly. Rich, In Satan's Name BBC documentary by award-winning director Anthony Thomas, In Satan's Name Bob Larson's 31-episode television series for the Trinity Broadcasting Network. Performance, Live in Osaka, features concert performance from Osaka, Japan, in 1989, with Michael Moynihan, Tony Weatherford, Douglas P., and Rose McDowell. Also includes Rice-made films Invocation and Black Sun. Print, Perpetual Permutation Poetry, International Artists Cooperative, Painted Black, Carl Raschke, Tape Delay, SAF Publishing, Pop Void Publications, A Research No. 6, Industrial Culture Handbook, A Research Publications, A Research No. 10, Incredibly Strange Films, A Guide to Deviant Films, A Research Publications, A Research No. 11, Pranks. A Research Publications, The Manson File edited by Nicholas Schreck, Amok Press, Apocalypse Culture, Expanded and Revised edition edited by Adam Parfrey, Feral House, Answer Me. Issue No. 3, Answer Me. Issue No. 4, Death in June, Le Livre Brune, Cayman Blanc, Death in June, Misery and Purity, Jara Press, The Exit Collection, Tacit, Taboo, The Art of Tki, Outre Press, Lucifer Rising, Plexus Publishing, Cinema Contra Cinema, Fringecore, Apocalypse Culture 2, edited by Adam Parfrey, Feral House, Paranoia, The Conspiracy Reader, Issue 32, Spring 2003. The Book of Lies, Disinformation Press, 100 Artists See Satan, Last Gasp Press, The Vessel of God, Terrifier, .45 Dangerous Minds, Creation Press, Art That Kills, Creation Press, Noise Music, A History, Continuum International Publishing Group, The Book of Satanic Quotations, Purging Talon Press, Bubblegum and Sunshine Pop, Les Kayers Do Rock, Iron Youth Reader, Underworld Amusements, Standing in Two Circles, Les Secrets de Boyd Rice, edited by Brian M. Clark. Cayman Noir, Standing in Two Circles, The Collected Works of Boyd Rice, edited by Brian M. Clark, CTBKS, No, Heartworm Press, Death in June, Hidden. Behind the Runes, Aldo Clementi, Mondo Movies, Borzar and Company, Charles Manson, Le Goulard du Rock, Cayman Noir, Twilight Man, Heartworm Press, Vlad the Impaler, Ian Allen, No, Expanded and Revised Edition Heartworm Press, Death in June Songbook. References. Further reading, Chad Hensley. Nonsense, An Interview with Boyd Rice. Esoterra, The Journal of Extreme Culture 9, pages 12 to 17.